Hi there, and welcome, I guess, to this thing, which now exists on this channel. Now, you might be asking yourself, Sark, what are you doing with your life? What is this garbage? Well, let me answer that question, my one singular viewer. You see, for a little bit of background, started a little while back in the project that I'm in, where I was asked to put together a list of films to watch and quote-unquote analyze their visual presentation. You know, the aesthetics, style, the deeper meaning behind the over-the-shoulder shot in scene 42, that kind of thing. And I figured, hey, I'm very poorly analyzing this thing for this project, so what if I also made it into a small thing on my own channel, where I watch something on the list every week, or as close to every week as I can, and I just kind of chill and ramble on about it, and here we are. That was a bad snap. So I guess you should buckle in, because boy, you're in for one incoherent ride today, as we start the series with, Thieves of the Ocean. Dead people don't tell stories. There's a reason I don't tell jokes, like, ever. So anyway, I've always loved the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise ever since I was but a wee lad, and as such, I followed the production of this film for the longest time, and then it got released, and oh boy, that was that one big letdown. This film does so much wrong in every department. I'll try and keep this as consistent and organized as I can, but there's a reason I don't make promises about being coherent or organized and talking about anything ever. So, right, the first thing, the action or something. The Pirates of the Caribbean films have always had some fantastic action. Even the fourth one, while not fantastic, has some fun action, like the mermaid scene, for instance. This film, however, doesn't have anything, really. I'll try to keep this organized. Okay, so, for one thing, every action scene is as absolutely over-the-top and ungrounded as possible. Let me explain the best I can. The prior three films had ultimately three big set pieces that were just completely and utterly out of the realm of reality. It had one, Wheel of Fortune scene, number 2, the climax of Dead Man's Chest with the Kraken, 3, the cannibal chase, and 4, the climax at World's End. And that's not including the fourth film, or what the crew does to get Jack back, since I don't really count those as set pieces, like I do the other 4 instances above. And the thing that sets those scenes apart from any scene in 5 is that they were grounded in some form or another of the world's reality. It was detached from our reality, but still grounded enough in theirs and as close to ours as possible so as to not feel out of place or uninvesting. The camera work and the visual effects and whatnot also helped with that, going from these gorgeous longer shots to more ground level shots that felt more chaotic, as if you were with the cameraman in real time. Things like the dizzying, spinning shots of the water wheel, or the added camera shake in the Kraken scenes when its tentacles are coursing through and destroying the ship, or even the way the climax of At World's End switches from said glorious sweeping wides to more ground-level combat shots. Everything worked in unison to create an incredibly and weirdly grounded and as close to realistic world as is possible with what these films are about, while still staying fairly carefree and loose with the tone and style. Dead Men Tell No Tales, I don't know how to speak English properly. On the other hand, it ignores all of this. The camera feels incredibly detached from the scene more often than not, like a passive bystander more than an active participant in what's happening. It's often static, and when it does try to switch between more chaotic shots and more steady shots, it fails because the static shots feel too detached and artificial, and the chaotic shots feel too messy, and half the time the camera is shaking for realistically no reason. The nature of the scenes doesn't help either, going completely overboard and throwing things at you that they think are in line with the prior films of the franchise, but really feel far too out there to be taken seriously at all, really. The film also just looks way too clean. Along with the first few films having a sense of groundedness, came a certain look to them, a certain dirty look. It felt like you could reach out and touch the grime on the ship railing. The makeup and costuming made the pirates look dirty and shabby and, well, disgusting. just like me. And what also helped with that look was the fact that those first 4 films were shot on, well, the film. And while today 35mm, from my understanding at least, I could be wrong about this, looks much closer to that of digital, when these first 3 were made, it still gave them this inherent grit and grime to the way they looked. The imperfections in the film quality helped to sell the feeling of this world being very unclean, and that helped to make it feel more realized. Dead Men Tell No Tales. Dear goodness, how many times am I going to fumble this? On the other hand, is shot on digital, and that alone takes away a lot from making it feel too sleek, modern, and finished. The costume and makeup departments even seem weirdly downgraded. It feels like they're trying to imitate the look of those first films through the costume and set and makeup, but it just doesn't feel quite right for some reason. And the only thing about the story I really want to mention is the fact that every new character really sucks. Especially Karina, because she just isn't a character. All she really does is remind everyone, hey, she's really smart and stuff. That's pretty much just her character, in all honesty. And they pretty much constantly dumb down everyone else around her to try and make you think she's as smart as she likes to say she is. When you reach the point in writing your character, that's what you resort to, your character kind of has a problem. And goodness, there's so much more that I could ramble on about, but I just don't want to talk about this film anymore. It's so awful. I could make a better pirate film than this steaming pile of trash. Here, hang on, here, watch.
Something always brings me back to you.
Our friendship. Ow! That actually hurt. admit it probably isn't going to win any Oscars this year, but I think people are going to appreciate it over time for the masterpiece that it really is. Maybe next time I do one of these things, I won't have to completely and utterly torture myself with what I watch.